Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the PodUp with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. PodUp, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Today's program will be the best of the Gator Championship teams.
Major Wright, Mike Peterson,
Ahmad Black.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Now serving brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline. We got a guy who did a lot of celebrating and is celebrating now. Big Major Wright joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Good morning, Major. How are you, buddy?
Great morning. I'm amazing. How are you?
Doing well. Well, we had you on, gosh, I don't know if it was a year ago, 2 years ago, talking about your book that you wrote. Well, heck, you're a big-time writer now. You got book number 2 coming out, a children's book. Tell us what it's all about.
Yes. So this is my second book, and this book is geared towards the children, as you just said. And this book is called Good Deed Tuesday. So my character name is Mr. GDT. And every Tuesday, he goes out in the community and activate his powers by doing good deeds. And for every good deed he does, something good happens in Mr. GDT life, you know. So now what we're trying to do is get these kids to understand how important it is to spread love, how important it is to care for other people, how important it is to pour into other people, because when you are on your down spurs in life, you do need people to help pick you up. So why not start these good deeds and let everybody know, like, hey, listen, I'm here for you. Shane, you may be going through something today, but you know what? I'm going to be that person that uplift you and get you going through the day. Or if we're in school and bullying is going on, you be that student that step up and say, hey, no, this is not right. Let's go another route. Let's talk about this, you know. So getting these kids to just show love and pour into each other is the most important message that's in this book.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say when you were on my show promoting your other book, this is something that you did when you were a college athlete or once you were a pro athlete or something, right? Every Tuesday you went somewhere.
Yeah.
Am I remembering this correctly?
No, you right on with the story, but this happened after the NFL when one day I just got through working out and I was going through hell, you know. Just got through retiring from the NFL, still was trying to get back in the NFL, but, you know, no luck. And everything just seemed to go downhill for me. And I seen a homeless guy laying on the ground when I'm just walking. I'm just like, man, I haven't done anything good for anybody lately. So I stopped, man, and was just like, you know what? I'm going to take this guy to lunch. And I took that homeless guy to lunch, and me sitting down with him, having us an amazing conversation, him telling me why he was in that situation gave me so much insight just on life in general, you know. So after that lunch that we had, it felt so good to know that I done good for somebody else. And it felt like I needed to do this every Tuesday. So that's how Mr. GDT did come about, because it made me feel amazing doing for somebody else than just for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Andy's got a question for you here on the Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. He says, Major, former Chicagoan here who loved watching you play for the Bears and the Gators, of course. Do you remember who threw you your first NFL pick six?
Yes, of course. That was a highlight. That was a highlight of my whole, you know, career at that time in Chicago. And that was Matthew Stafford, the now Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford. I took him pick six. And we was in a cover 3. I came downhill And he just threw it right to me. I was hey, thank you. And ran in and scored.
We got a text on the Titan MR text line from Sherry. Sherry wants to know, Major, how long did it take you to write this children's book?
Oh, so the children's book didn't take me long because I had already had these stories, you know. It didn't take me long, but the illustration part was the most, it was the most time consuming because, like I said, the stories was already made, but the illustration part was just coming, you know, bringing my story to life. That took me, it took us probably like four months to have everything completed and done. And this is amazing.
Here at this Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law. Natasha says, I am married, but I am in love with Major right now. What a great book theme. That's awesome. So speaking of Mr. GDT, Good Day Tuesday, like, are you going to get like a superpower? Do you have a costume that you can put on?
So you know,
visit kids.
We are actually working on coming out with costumes, and I have gadgets as well that helps Mr. GDT locate where the good deed is needed at. It's so inspirational for these kids, really, to get them to like tune into something other than just something negative, you know. And all we doing is giving out positivity. And on top of that, like, we know I'm human, so Mr. GDT is not gonna always be right either. You know,
right? How many pages in this book?
It's 37 pages. Better yet, I have one copy here. It's 37 pages. It's more comic book style, and how we really in tune into these kids, because we ask questions. We ask, you know, so what would you do? What do you think Mr. GDT should do for this good deed? You know, get them to respond to it, and then let them know how Mr. GDT went about and did his good deed.
All right, we got a bunch of people asking, where can they buy this book?
You guys can buy this book at gooddeedtuesday.org.
Okay, gooddeedtuesday.org. We'll make sure we've already put it up once. We'll put it up again on the website here. Another Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John wants you to go back in the day. He says, Major, can you walk us through, quote, the hit against Oklahoma?
Yes, I can. Oh my God! Hey, every time I talk about it, like I get lit, because right before the game, we had our DB huddle, and I told Janoris Jenkins, Joe Hayden, Marquis Anderson, Ahmad Black, Will Hill, look everybody in their face, and I told them, hey, bro, you know, I'm laying it on the line for you guys, no matter what. So whenever you guys need me, I will be there for y'all. And that play, me telling them that before the game, was playing in my head the whole time I was running over there to the side. I gotta be there for my teammate. So we mess around and we in man coverage, and Stafford hiked the ball. I'm going to the middle. Stafford pumps to the same side that he's throwing to, so it kind of get me to weave towards that hash. So when he let the ball go, I had already had a head start over there to that side. Man, and when I tell you what kept playing in my head, I gotta be there. Man, the next thing you know, I was there. Boom.
No doubt. And you would have been thrown out of the game if you were playing now.
Yes. They would have locked me up, thrown away the key, and gave me life.
Yep. That was a big play in that national championship game, no question about it. You know, it's crazy to me when you think back, just some of the players you just mentioned in that secondary on that defense with you. The talent on that 08 team was ridiculous.
Oh my God. I've never been a part of such a talented team. At every position, you could name somebody who's doing really, really well, who done really, really well at that position. And we were stacked. And what made it so comfortable because we already knew that, man, if everybody show up and do their job, we cannot be beat.
Yeah, that's so true. We got a text on the Titan Mark text line for you, Major, here. And it comes from Jim. Jim wants to know, Major, besides writing books, what are you doing these days?
Jim, I'm starting my enterprise. So I'm focusing on my publishing company. So why I get to write these books and publish them and keep doing that is because I started my own publishing company. And what we want to do is now too is start getting people to tell their stories, because now me telling my story may open up a door for somebody else who's going through the similar situations, you know. So if everybody tell a story, we make it help the people who's, you know, these younger generations not go through the same path that we went through. They can fix that and become more successful because the ropes that we're giving them, you know. So I started my publishing company. I have my foundation called The Right Way, where now we're tapping into something totally different than a lot of these other foundations, to where now we're going into the education system and try to change how, you know, these kids. Well, I know for me, when I was in high school and when I got done with high school, well, when I got done with the pros, I didn't know about financial literacy. I didn't know about anything about finances or how to live about life, you know. So we want to help that as well in our communities.
We got another text here from William. William wants to know, Major, will you be doing any book signings for your children's book?
Yes. This is going to be huge. We definitely going to be doing book signings for this. We're going to go through schools. Mr. GDT is going to have Good Deed Tuesday parties at these schools for the kids. It's all for the kids, man. It's all giving back to these kids, getting them to see more than just something that's negative. We want to show them all positive, show them that it's cool to do good deeds.
Yeah, no question. John asked here on Facebook Live before we let you go, Major, have you been able to meet the new coaching staff yet? And if so, what are your thoughts?
I haven't met the new coaching staff yet. I've been focused on, you know, getting my stuff done, my book and stuff published. Sooner or later, cartoon, you know, will be getting done on my Good Deed Tuesday. But I haven't met the coaches yet. But the energy that I've been hearing about has been really good energy, you guys. So we have some great, you know, great insight telling me this. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this season. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty pumped up. And excited to see what we're going to do this year.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you coming on one more time. Let everybody know where they can find this book.
You guys can find, you know, my book, my cartoon book at gooddeedtuesday.org.
I love this. I think it's awesome. I just want to see Major Wright show up on the sideline in the swamp in your superhero good Mr. GDT outfit.
That would be lit.
You got to do it. You got to do Mr. Two Bits as Mr. GDT. How about that?
If they allow me to do it, I'm gonna definitely do it.
Good stuff, my man. I appreciate you joining the program, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thank y'all for having me.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're joined by former Gator linebacker, number 29, Mike Peterson. Good morning, Mike. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Everything's good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. When I have former players on here, Mike, I like to go back to their younger days. You played high school ball at Santa Fe.
Yes,
when you were being recruited, now let me ask you real quick, your little brother, Adrian, how many years apart are y'all?
4 years apart.
4 years apart. Okay, so did y'all get to play high school ball together or no?
Yes, we did. I was actually, I guess you could say 4-3. I was a senior and he was in the 9th grade. We played together. Yep,
okay.
For just a little bit. He started out JV and he had a chance to move up and play a couple games of varsity, so we did interact a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay, so when it got time, when you started, you're a really good player there at Santa Fe for the Raiders. What all schools did you visit, or did you always want to be a Gator?
Well, actually, Florida was my last visit. I took a visit to Michigan, Clemson, and Georgia Southern, and Florida was my last one. I took 4 visits.
And Coach Spurrier, who was the main guy?
Ron Zook, Coach Zook, my guy, man. Coach Zook was my guy, and earlier in the process, I had told a lot of teams that I only wanted to play quarterback. I played quarterback in Santa Fe, so at the time, I thought I was a quarterback, and that's what I wanted to do. So a lot of schools kind of backed off of me once I made that statement, but Florida was one of the teams that kind of stayed there and kind of gave me that option to come there. Yeah,
I was going to ask you because I thought I was crazy for a minute, but I remember you played high school quarterback. And so Coach Spurrier and Coach Zook, believe it or not, actually said, Mike, we're going to give you a chance to play quarterback.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How many snaps did you take in your first practice at quarterback?
I don't know if I took 1 snap at quarterback. Ron Zook was a defensive guy. He was recruiting me. I know I was saying quarterback, and in the back of his mind, I know he was like, yeah, you're going to be a defensive guy. And then it actually all worked out. Two older guys got into a little situation there. They, got kicked off the team, not to get all into it. So we was short at the linebacker or that Gator back position. And he said, you can sit over there and wait your turn at quarterback, or you can come over here and compete to play now. And to me, that was an easy decision. So the rest was history.
Yeah, that cracks me up. There are not many guys that played high school quarterback that end up being a unbelievable linebacker, All-American, and playing the NFL at the linebacker position. Yeah. So let me ask you this: Did you? So you never got a chance to go over there and individual with Coach Spurrier, get the ball up high, Mike. Take your steps and let it go.
I think I might have went over there maybe 2 days, maybe. I don't even remember. I just wanted to get on the field. So I kind of went over and I seen how deep we were, and I was, looking on the other field like, yeah, man, maybe I need to go over there. And it might have been the day one I started out over there, but I don't even remember it. All I remember is the situation we had and with the older guys and moving on the defensive side, and the rest was history. I never looked back.
Yeah, that's a great story. All right, so Mike, you were fortunate enough to be one of the linebackers on the first ever national championship team in 1996. Florida's won 2 other ones since then, and you've been around football, playing professionally, coaching, and all that. And we'll get to that later. But a lot of people like to debate whether the 96, 06, or 08 teams, which one is better. I know you were on the 96 team. Which team, if they had to play a round robin, who are you taking?
Oh man, I'm taking the 96 by far. Look at check the roster, man. You know what? I tell people all the time, our practice, just going against our offense in practice was harder than the games. Just because you go down just the list of defensive guys, I think all the guys that played there, all but maybe one guy had a chance to play on the next level. And even was, backups, guys who didn't even start at the time had a chance at the next level. That's unheard of now. But that 96 team, man, we was loaded. Not the defense, we was loaded. The offensive side, we was loaded. You know, we had great coaches. A lot of the coaches went on to, you know, with head jobs, coordinator jobs. So, you know, I'm a little biased, but I think that 96 team can go up against any team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, my man. When you look back at, speaking of, you talked about the practices, so many good players on both sides of the ball. And I get a lot of criticism when I say this, but to me, and I have the all-time leading rusher play with me, Eric Rett, who was a tremendous football player. Right. And obviously we all know what Emmett did. But to me, the best running back that ever played at Florida is Fred Taylor. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, hands down, the best. I'm talking, and you know, Fred is a good friend of mine, so you know, I'm talking speed and power and vision. You know what I mean? How many backs can you find that have all three of those? You know, a guy who can, if you give him a crease, you know, it's a touchdown. And you know, he's a powerful guy. You see the way he was built, and the guy who was cutback king. You know, you give him a crease on the cutback, he's gonna find that crease, and the rest is history. You know, so he's definitely my number one.
We're speaking with Coach Mike Peterson here on the Titan MR Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach M. Peterson. He's a linebacker coach at South Carolina. Hey, you got inducted into the University of Florida Athletic Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it meant a lot. You know, getting inducted is like, you know, being voted a captain to me. You know, someone else has to nominate you for it. Someone else has to vote for that. I got to be honest, it was a little surprising. So I'm not a guy who, you know, I can't tell you how many sacks I had. I can't tell you how many, you know, interceptions I had. You know what I mean? The awards never really mattered to me. It was more, you know, what my peers thought of me. So it was a little exciting, and the whole process, I enjoyed the whole weekend.
Yeah. Mike, when you look back at your Gator career, what's the one moment or one game that stands out the most in your memory?
Oh, man. That's a hard one, man. One game, one moment. You know what? I don't even know if it's a game. I think the hanging out in the locker room with the players, you know, hanging out in the dorms with the players. That's probably the relationships that you formed in college. I think that's the one thing that I remember the most, and probably the one thing that I miss about college football. You know, I actually tell my guys here, you know, some of these friends and some of these teammates you have now, you're gonna remember these guys the rest of your life. You know, some of these guys they're gonna actually be in your wedding. You know, they're gonna be the guard dads to some of your kids. So I think the relationships and the hanging out in the locker room, you know, the time away from football, that's what I remember more so than any game, any sack, you know, big play that I made there.
Do you think, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've said I feel like the bond and how teams get along with one another has kind of gone away because there's no athletic dorms. I want to say you may have lived a year or two in Yon Hall and they shut it down. But don't you think that it would be much better for you guys now, you being a college football coach, if everybody lived in a dorm?
Yes, I'm kind of torn between that, because I get it. You know, you don't want to just separate them away from normal students, but I'm thinking maybe even the first year, maybe the freshmen have to live in a freshman dorm with all football players. You know, that's kind of where you build in that team bond. You kind of and you building those relationships. I think a lot of times when you put them with the regular students, sometimes you can get lost in the shuffle. And you know, you got to remember now our schedule is a little different from the normal student. So I get the argument that they have, but we're not normal students once we go to a college. It's totally different.
There's no question about that. Mike, you get drafted by the Indianapolis Colts out of Florida. You play there, and you play for the Jags, and you play for the Falcons. Had a long, long career, tremendous linebacker. Do you, everybody asks me this. You played for 3 different franchises. I played for 6, and I basically sat on the bench for most of those. But do you have a favorite out of those 3 that you enjoyed playing at the most?
I can't say it out of my mouth. I do, but I can't say it out of my mouth. You know, I love my Colts fans. I love my Jags fans, and definitely love my Falcons fans. So I don't want to upset nobody, but each each 3 teams there, each 3 was a little different for me. So Indianapolis was kind of like young kid from Florida, first, drafted, so I'm always going to love the Colts. They went out on a limb and drafted me, so I'm always going to feel some type of way there. Then going to Jacksonville, that was like playing in front of your family, playing in front of, old fans. So that was a unique situation. And then going to Atlanta, I was an older guy. I got a chance to play in actually a bigger market, start my coaching profession as I was grooming some of the young guys, and play up under a guy, Mike Smith, who was the coordinator in Jacksonville, who became the head coach there. So I got a chance to, just learn different things. But so each team was a little different. So I grabbed a little piece from all three spots, man. So I say all of that. I still can't say which is the best. If you ask me Jags fans, I'm gonna tell them. If you ask any Colts fans, if I'm around them, I'm gonna say my Colts. And the same thing with the Falcons.
Hey, so you were there with Peyton, correct?
Correct.
Talk real quick. Did you know right away when you became his teammate how special he was?
Oh yeah, and I tell some of my guys now, man. I learned so much from Peyton. You talking about the ultimate professional. The way he practiced. And I went there the year I went there. It was his second year there. They had a terrible year the first year. So you talking about a guy that's coming off of a bad season, but the way he prepared for a game was like I still haven't seen it. The way he, game day, him and Marvin and even Reggie Wayne when he got there, they would get to the stadium so early and just go through, just signals and just run routes and the way he approached practice. So I gained so much from him, and he was a real dude. I tell him all the time. I tell people all the time. Now you got the football Peyton, and then you got the outside Peyton. Now the football Peyton is straight business. Now the regular Peyton is, when I say he's a dude, he was a prankster. Peyton, he played all the jokes in the locker room, but he was a real dude where you could talk about, just life or whatever thing. That's what I kind of grabbed from him. Just another thing that I grabbed from him. But Peyton was the ultimate pro, man. He's the ultimate pro.
Did you give him crap about how he never beat the Gators?
Every day, all day. I tell him all the time, man. I see him now. I tell him the same thing. You can win all these games, but you never beat the Gators, baby. So just kind of make sure you remember that.
At Chris Story Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Story Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. A few more minutes here with former Gator linebacker Mike Peterson. All right, so you hang up your eventually you retire from the NFL. You take a couple of years off, I guess, and then you want to get into coaching. You start as a strength coach here at the University of Florida, I guess, under Coach Muschamp.
Correct.
While you were playing in the league, was it something that you always thought about? Hey, man, I might want to be a coach one day.
Probably, I think I want to say, Shane, probably my last 4 years. I started, leaning towards it. That was my Atlanta time. Then at the time I was kind of tutoring some of the young guys, some of the young linebackers. They was drafting linebackers there. And, I had a good experience with Coach Smith, Mike Smith. He used to actually make me get up in front of the team and, install the defense, and I got in that role and I was, kind of like, man, I like this. Yeah, I feel like I can do this. And then that's when the learning started. Okay, let's learn this. Let's pick this up from this guy. Why do we do this, coach? And, why do we do that? Shouldn't we do this? And, the rest is history. I was lucky enough. Actually, how it happened, Shane, is I went back to school. I went back and finished my undergrad.
That's right. That's right.
I promised my grandmother that I would finish it. And, she held me to it. So every time I seen her in off season, she used to nag me. And Mike, when are you going to get your degree? So, I kept my word. I went back, Coach Muschamp, he gave me the opportunity to be an intern coach the first year. So I was able to hang around and tutor some of the young linebackers. And the following year, he hired me in the weight room. And the rest is history. When he came here, he offered me a job to coach the outside linebackers. And that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, speaking of being at South Carolina, obviously you were you went there with Coach Muschamp. He was let go. Shane Beamer decided to keep you. Did you think about possibly going somewhere else, or did you want to stay there at South Carolina?
You know how it is. You know, my deal was up. I didn't know. You know, that's kind of it's kind of like when you're a free agent as a player. You know, you get that same feeling. You know, of course, you want to stay here, and you don't want to have to move your family. And then it's, you know, where do I go? You know, am I gonna get the opportunity again? So and Coach Beamer did a great job. You know, he brought everybody in and you know, spoke with him about, you know, what he thought about him, and he actually offered me the job to come back. You know, and I was thrilled. And he accepted, and we're moving forward.
Now I got to ask you this.
Talk to me.
I'm trying to think of how many times now that you've been coaching linebackers for South Carolina, you've coached against the Gators in the swamp. How weird is that? Man,
you would think I would get over it and it would be okay by now, but it's still it's different. It's different. Once the game kick off and, you know, it's football and you get to coaching your guys, you know, I'm fine. But that early, that warming up and going to the visitor sideline is still a little weird for me.
The first year you were back on the sidelines, did you almost go back in the wrong tunnel?
Of course. Of course. The wrong tunnel, the wrong sideline, everything, the wrong locker room and all. You know, everybody teased me about it, but I once they kick the ball off, man, I get over it, and it's still football.
Yeah, Mike. A few more questions for you. You have the Mike Peterson Foundation. You do a lot of charity work, especially in your hometown of Alachua. Talk a little bit about what that means to you.
Oh man, that's something that I was as soon as I got the opportunity to get in the NFL, that's something that I always said I wanted to come back and be able to do. You know, I grew up in that area in Alachua, and, you know, as a kid, you always wonder, man, why I never see any NFL players here, or why doesn't anybody do this for us, or why we don't have a part, you know. So that was kind of my driven goal once I make it, be able to come back to my hometown. And I always say, if your hometown don't love you, you can care less who else loves you. So I was always fighting, you know, to make sure my hometown was, you know, backed me and loved me and supported me. And that was just my way of giving back to them.
Yeah, you've done a great job with that. Those folks up there in Columbia miss the head ball coach?
Oh, yeah, he still pops around, man. Yeah, he still pops around. You know, Coach Spur, you know, you never know when he's going to pop in the building. So he'll pop around, and I hear he hangs out at a couple golf courses here, you know, a couple sites they hear him in town. But, you know, he's still a legend. Same way he's a legend in Gainesville, he's definitely a legend up here in Columbia. Yep.
So the last thing before I let you go, I ask all the former players when they come on my show, you got to have a good head ball coach story for us.
Head ball coach. I know you probably heard them all, man. The one that I probably remember is, you know, when the player mess up, you know, you get a player mess up and the coach, assistant coach may be getting on him and, you know, coach, hey, coach, it's our fault. It's our fault. We recruited him. It's our fault. So that was always mine there. And you talking about a guy that loved to win. Oh my goodness. Everybody always asks me, what do you know about Spur? I said, he loved to win. He tried to win every drill, every period in practice, and I kind of carried that over. I tell my guys, let's go win every period, every drill.
Yeah, there's no question. There's nobody like him. Oh, I got one more thing. With you playing as long as you did in the league, Mike, you know, and there's a lot of coaches that coach, whether it's in the pros, and I'm sure you may have had them. I know I did. That didn't play the position that they're coaching.
Right.
How important in your mind, now that you've been coaching for a while, how important in your mind is it that you've played that position at the highest level you can play to be able to coach linebackers? I guess what I'm trying to say is, could Mike Peterson be as good a coach coaching defensive line?
Yeah, I think so. I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to, talk down on a coach that's coaching a position that he didn't play. I think it's a little advantage when you played it. When you play the position and now you're trying to teach it. You know, it's some things when you play the position or you played at the highest level. Sometimes it's X's and O's talk. A lot of coaches they just talking X's and O's. I like to talk on actually what can really happen. You know, you say go through this guy. Well, coach, I'm gonna end up on the outside. I'm gonna end up on the inside. I'm not going to go through this guy every time. So it has its advantage. Sometimes it may have its disadvantage. You know, sometimes you have to humble yourself, and you know, the way you've been taught all your years may not be the way the head coach or the D coordinator want to run the defense. You know, so I think that's a big thing for a lot of guys that's played in the league is humbling yourself and saying the same thing that Coach Beamer's saying. You know, me saying the same thing that Coach Clayton White is saying. You know, saying the same language and believing in him and trusting in him and backing whoever's at top. Whether you like that guy, you care for that guy, you think what he's saying is right, it doesn't matter. You have to back that guy and get yourself in line and humble yourself, and then you'll be able to move along. And that's with anything, man. You know,
well, Mike,
that's just how I feel.
Yep, I'm with you, brother. I appreciate you taking the time. One of the greatest linebackers we ever had here, doing a tremendous job for South Carolina. We wish you guys a lot of luck this year, except for one game.
I got you. I understand.
Where is the game this year? It's going to be in Columbia, right? Or did we come up there?
Oh man, that's a good question. I know, man. I try to forget that and wait till it get a little closer, man.
Well, anyway, buddy, be safe.
Nonetheless, man.
Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, thanks, Shane. Take care, man.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Our next guest here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, he did a lot of celebrating as number 35 for the Gators in the defensive backfield. Ahmad Black, good morning, my man. First of all, I just saw you this past weekend. We were fortunate enough to be a part of the Desire Street Ministry Desire Cup, Florida, Georgia. Kind of all screwed up now due to COVID. It's usually the weekend of Florida, Georgia. But how was your golf game this past week?
Right. Oh, man, I told Charles Barkley to hold my beer, I think. So I'm not much of a golfer, but I enjoyed just being out there, networking and getting around people that we see yearly now. It's my third year, being able to go to the Desire Cup, but just to get around, old friends, and I think that trumps my golf game.
No doubt. Well, Mad, we wanted to bring you on. Obviously, Gators only played four games. They sit at 3-1. Early on, we were really struggling defensively for whatever reason. I mean, obviously, we played Ole Miss, which is a really good offensive team. A&M is a very well-balanced team. And then you look at Missouri. I was a little concerned with Missouri because of the way they played against LSU. They scored a bunch of points. And the next week against Kentucky, they ran it down Kentucky's throat, kept the ball away from them. So I didn't know what to expect. Give me your thoughts on how you thought, the defense got better against Missouri, or was it more that Missouri just wasn't as good as we thought?
At first, I said, hey, this is Missouri. I don't think they're that good. But the more I looked at the game, the more I said, hey, these guys have some players. And again, going back to the LSU game and the Kentucky game, they kind of wore those guys out. So, we got some key guys in the right positions with 55 coming back. Now our D-line, and that put Carter back in his right position, put Cox back in his right position. We got some pressure on the quarterback this week. And, we can say what we want about the defensive backs. They played better, but I think it had something to do with that pass rush and that quarterback having to get the ball out.
Yeah, because I've been saying all along, even back in August, I got to go see the 2 scrimmages that we had.
Right.
And the D-line was my concern. But obviously, Kyrie Campbell was not a part of that. When you look, and you being a former defensive back, I try to tell people, I don't care if you got 4 Deion Sanders back there. If you don't pressure the quarterback, he's going to eat you alive. Do you think he made that big a difference against Missouri?
I don't think him personally made that big of a difference, but just his presence, right? So putting him back where he belongs, put other guys where they belong, and they feel more comfortable, right? So, with that being said, you're definitely right. I don't care if you got 4 Deion Sanders back there. You can't guard people all day, right? So those guys have great guys on their offense as well. Those guys are scholarship guys in the SEC as well on offense. So they're great players. So it goes hand in hand also, right? If we got great coverage on the back end, that's how you get sacks. All right, so it goes hand in hand.
Yep, we're speaking with Ahmad Black. You can follow him on Twitter, and you will definitely enjoy following him on Twitter at Ahmad Black 35. So let me ask you this, Ahmad. I never lost to Georgia. I don't think. Did you ever lose to Georgia?
I was on my freshman year. It's the year they ran on the field.
That's right.
Rick sent those guys every after that. Yep.
Yeah. So,
so the next year,
when you look back at your career, how important or how much fun did y'all enjoy playing in this rivalry game? It's going to be totally different this year because there's only going to be about 18 to 20,000 people there. Nobody's going to be able to tailgate. But what was it like for you playing in the Florida-Georgia rivalry?
It was so insane. Waking up at the hotel, all the pregame festivities that you go through, and pulling up and crossing that bridge and seeing all the fans, tailgating and whatnot. And yes, this year's going to be different, but I don't think that takes away from this rivalry game that's going to happen on the field. And that's what we do it for, right? We do all the tailgating and the partying and the festivities and whatnot, all for what? The game, right? So I don't think that'll take away from the rivalry game, but me personally, I just enjoy, the atmosphere. Just getting there, getting ready, knowing that that's in the East, right? East, we're fighting Georgia for the East. So, all the things that game, entails, it's just going to be a slugfest, and we know it, and we're always ready for it.
Okay, so Ahmad, put your coaching / helmet on right now. You've probably seen Georgia play a lot this year. They're going to be missing several starters due to injury. Probably the heart and soul of their defense, who's also a safety, Richard LeCount, will not play because he was in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
But we know what Georgia wants to do. They got a huge offensive line full of 5 stars, really good running backs. They want to pound the football. And I've said the only way Florida can win this game is if we stop their run. If they keep the ball away from us and run it down our throat, we have no chance of winning. As a defensive player, what do we need to do defensively to make sure Georgia does not do that?
Well, the quarterback is a little shaky. All right. He's not, I won't say the usual Georgia quarterback because the last quarterback they had was Jake Fromm was not very good either. He just showed up every time we played him. But this guy is not really good throwing the ball outside, right? They like to throw the ball to the running back out the backfield, a lot of wheel routes and whatnot. So me personally, we got to stay disciplined on our defense. We got to set the edge on our defense. If you got to set the edge, we got to know our assignments. And the wheel route has been killing us. The back out the backfield has been killing us on Texas routes, on option routes out the backfield. They're isolating it with our linebackers. So we got to do a better job with keeping our leverages. All right. So we got outside leverage, keep our outside leverage on that back. If we got to stay inside, stay inside. Don't step outside and let them run the Texas route or the angle route up underneath us. Right. I say we should load the box up and try to stop the run. All right. And make that quarterback throw the ball to beat us.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. And most people, in layman's terms, talk about let's put 8 in the box, play press man, which in theory sounds great. However, if for whatever reason they block you up on a play action pass or something, like I said, one-on-one coverage ain't easy. Even if we have great DBs, is that something you think you think that's something that Grantham may do, is put 8 in a box, or just play our base normal defense and hope our front 7 can control the line of scrimmage?
Well, here's my thing. I always say we had to do better with disguising. I played against Drew Brees. I played against Tom Brady. I played against Peyton and Eli Manning. There's no way you can just come out and show what you're doing. But sometimes you can dick them and trick them a little bit, right? So I think we should get better with our disguising and whatnot. And sometimes if we got to come down late, come down late. Show your too high shell. All right, and that's going to discourage him. I don't think that quarterback is good enough to beat us on the run, right? I don't think he's good at making decisions really like that. I don't think so. I think we come down late, show one coverage, go to something else. It'll probably confuse them. But again, we can't play one-on-one outside all day long. We got guys that can make some plays, but we don't have guys like that.
Yeah. Ahmad, I want to ask you this, since we have when I get my defensive guys on here, because people see nowadays, offenses are kind of scoring at will. And I've said that the rule changes are favored to the offense, especially with the RPO game, because explain to people, you being a safety, what your keys are on the run game when you see the head level or the pad level of offensive lineman and a pulling guard or what have you. Usually you think run, but now these guys can go downfield 4 yards and then the ball's slung right behind your ear. It ain't fair. Right. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's one of the key plays that teams are doing in the red zone now, right? Yeah. I remember playing against the Rams once, and they did it. So it's almost like it's almost like a zone read, and then you have everybody biting down, and then they freaking throwing it behind you or whatnot. But Brandon Spikes taught me a long time ago to watch pad level on the offensive lineman, to watch guards pulling, and once you key in down on that, and it looks like run. I mean, I'm one of the guys that if I see run, I'm going to get it, because I was a smaller guy. I'd rather go hit the running back before he gets going. Does that make sense? So I'm streaking down there. Well, you streak down there, and now you get a slant on you right behind you, and you done streak down there, and the corner misses that play. That's touchdown. All right. So it's also like when guys getting 4th and 2, it used to be, hey, watch the zone read. Well, now you can freaking zone read, throw the ball. It's so many different things that it's almost automatic. If that's your bread and butter and it's smooth, it's automatic 5 yards every time.
Yep, no doubt. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're speaking to Ahmad Black. Got a few more minutes with him here on the Titan hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Ahmad Black 35. So let me ask you this. You play with Percy.
Yes.
Everybody wants to compare Kadarius Toney to Percy. Look, I've been around the Gator football program a long time, watched a lot of football. There ain't nobody like Percy Harvin. But
it's not even close.
But what do you see in Kadarius Toney?
I think when they that comparison or make that comparison, because to me that's listen, that's blasphemous, as Stephen A. like to say. We're comparing him to a guy who won SEC Player of the Game as a freshman, right? We're comparing this guy to a guy who won 2 national championships and freaking rushed for 100 and something yards as a wide receiver on a broke ankle. All right. Nothing against Kadarius Toney, because I love Kadarius Toney. I just think what they mean is the big play, right? So Percy used to give us that big play, right? And I think they're comparing Kadarius to his big plays and like, oh, he's the next Percy Harvin. So I'm giving the benefit of the doubt and saying that's probably what they mean. I don't think, because Percy is a different cat. It's the same cat that went to the NFL. Yeah, he went to the NFL and won freaking Rookie of the Year, and freaking he had headaches and whatever you could say, but when he was on the field, you knew it. Yeah, you definitely knew it.
Percy's the most dynamic player I've ever seen in a Gator uniform with the ball in his hands. There's nobody that compares to him. Before we let you go, Dan Mullen was offensive coordinator when you were here and winning national titles and stuff. So you've been around Dan. Dan's done a tremendous job with our football program. He's catching a lot of heat because of what happened the other night in the Missouri game. As a player, though, you got to love your head coach standing up for his players, right?
Yeah. It's no better feeling than what Dan's doing right now for his team. Of course, there's gonna be a bunch of old cats like us, just like on the internet, just freaking. Oh, he shouldn't have done that. Oh, I mean, calm down. All right, Dan's having fun with his team. You know, it is what it is. Whatever happened, happened. I think he's just trying to get past it. All right, don't want to harp on it. And he had fun. It was Halloween. You know, a different type of night. Hey, it's hard enough to get SEC wins. Missouri's been having our number for a couple of years. Have fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so Ahmad, give me your prediction on Florida, Georgia. What it's going to take for the Gators to win this game?
Again, we got to tackle the football. We got to keep our containment, set edge on our defense, stop the run, make this quarterback beat us. Also, I think we should stretch the ball a little bit more since their secondary is a little bit beat up. They got some new guys in there. I know how it is with new guys in there. Communication can be messed up back there. All right, so stretch the ball. We got big, tall, muscle-bound receivers that can go get the ball. All right, so we can stretch the field. We got to find a way to get Kadarius Toney the ball, obviously, and make sure we keep Trash safe. All right, because those guys always bring it.
Yep, that is so true. So let the Gator Nation know what Ahmad Black's up to these days.
I was just in Gainesville right now and talking a lot of crap on Twitter. Being a gymnastics dad, I have an 8-month-old. Well, he'd be 8 months tomorrow. And a 9-year-old. So pretty much, just make sure they're safe and going to all their sporting events. My daughter had her first gym meet of the season. I think it was 2 weeks ago. She finished second all around. So the girl she went against was pretty tough.
So did she get her athletic ability, her flipping ability, all that stuff that gymnastics have from you or from mom?
I don't know, probably mom, because I wasn't that athletic. I can't do any flips or anything.
All right, Ahmad, let everybody know, are you still doing your podcast and how they can listen to it?
Yeah, so it's a new show that came out today, actually. We have we record a new show every Monday. It comes out every Tuesday morning. It's called Stadium and Gale. We preview the game that we previously had, talk about the game that we have coming up that week, and just talk about a lot of Gator sports, Gator issues, what's going on in Gator Nation. So if you ever get a chance, check out Stadium and Gale.
Well, we'll definitely put that up here. We appreciate you taking the time, my man. Take care of them youngins, and
yes, sir.
we'll talk to you soon, Ahmad.
Thanks for having me, Shane.